like viewer comments today, but we're continuing our conversation about ranked choice voting after the story we did on it yesterday. We got dozens of text messages, most of which we were not able to share at the end of yesterday's show because of time. Today, we have the time, and we have a recap of the ranked choice voting demonstration we did with our station employees. We had 40 people vote on two races, what to eat for lunch and what to drink with that lunch. The candidates were tacos, hamburgers, pizza, sandwiches, and salad. And then to drink, it was either Coke, Pepsi, 7-Up water, or Dr. Pepper. And they were supposed to rank them on their ballots 1 through 5, 1 being what they wanted most, and so on. When it came to drinks, water was the runaway favorite in that first round of counting. But after that first round of counting, the first choice votes, H2O only had 20 votes, which is one shy of the 50% plus one, the majority it needed to win. Go from 5 candidates to 1 winner with a simple majority. It's a simple system. So the tally first step, look to who finished last, which would be 7-Up.
Okay, so what do we got for 7-Up?
And we throw that one out and we take their second choice.
Yes.
And give it to somebody else.
Yeah, so who did our 7-Up? Our
7-Up's second choice was Coca-Cola. So if you want to mark down to Coca-Cola.
So let's do that. So we'll add a vote here for
Do we cross 7-Up out?
And we can, they're out of the running.
They're out of the running.
Still not a predominant winner.
Okay, so now what do we do?
We got to go to our next lowest. So Pepsi now is the lowest vote getter. We already know they're going to be out of the running, but we got to look at these 4 votes to see who their second choice votes were.
This one would be, second choice would be Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Okay, this one, second choice is water.
So that's going to be it.
Dr. Hunt says it's common for the early favorite to eventually wind up winning. So you get the gist on how that ranked choice voting thing works. Water was the winner, and so was tacos, which was also the front runner after the first round of counting. Yay, tacos and water. The whole point was to show how ranked choice works with the help of a Boise State political scientist, as you just heard from, who has an expertise in elections. That was Dr. Charles Hunt, who explained ranked choice voting as an election is designed, I should say, to produce a winner that has majority support in some fashion, either through first place votes where they get that 50% plus 1 in the first round, or through second or third place votes. And with it, he says, voters have a clearer and more nuanced way of reflecting their preferences, to which you, our viewers, had a way of reflecting your nuanced thoughts about it. Like Lori from Eagle, who now wants tacos, wrote in to say, "Thanks for the information, so we can make an educated vote. Great job on the ranked choice voting demo," said Doug C. from Nampa. "Couldn't get any clearer than that." Bill in Meridian, he wasn't going to vote on this issue if he didn't understand it. Well, now that he does, he says, "I can vote wisely." From Sue near BSU, easy to understand, seems fair, and will likely result in the more generally appealing candidates winning. Is that why Mr. Moyle and the GOP are so scared? Then on the other side, Albert believes ranked choice voting is a somewhat convoluted way of electing officials. Albert doesn't want to get used to a corruptible system that has questions about it. While Doug in Boise now understands it a lot better, but it still sucks. Algorithms or not, the machines can still be manipulated. 1 vote, 1 choice. And his choice, and his wife's, will be to vote with Moyle. And finally, from Leanne in Fruitland, a simple take. Ranking votes is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Okay, some of them not so nuanced, but for a lot of you, it was easy to understand, which goes against one of the major criticisms of ranked choice voting. One of several, that is. It's confusing, it's time-consuming, it's questionable, and it's costly. Several of our viewers yesterday mentioned Mr. Mike Moyle, that would be the Speaker of the House, Mike Moyle. And the reason we brought him up is because he wrote all of those criticisms in an opinion piece written by him for Idaho Ed News. And so we wanted him to explain some of his complaints, specifically what he wrote at the end of his op-ed for Idaho Ed News.
Start a process that nobody's ever going to trust when it's done. Yeah. And
why wouldn't they trust it? It could have something to do with what Speaker Moyle wrote at the end of his op-ed. Of the 2 companies able to supply ranked choice voting machines, one is Dominion Voting Systems. This is deeply concerning to me.
Dominion machines, and I think there may be one other company that makes machines that can do these algorithms, right?
Okay, so Speaker Moyle using air quotes when talking about algorithms as if they are some sort of witchcraft that nobody understands prompted a few text messages yesterday, which, like Becky from Boise pointing out, algorithm is a fancy word for math. There are many applications, many tools that do algorithms for you. It's called coding. It's been around for years. Nothing new. Welcome to the 21st century, she said. By the way, Speaker Moyle admitted he referred to Dominion because it was a buzzword, air quotes, but you might recognize it as a dog whistle to get attention because Speaker Moyle knows about Fox News, spending weeks using Dominion voting machines as the reason Donald Trump lost the 2020 presidential election, claiming the machines were hooked up to the internet, that they changed votes to Joe Biden, none of which was true, and it ended up costing Fox News nearly $800 million in a defamation lawsuit. But just to plant a seed of doubt about ranked choice voting, Speaker Moyle threw Dominion out there, even though nothing nefarious has ever been proven with their voting machines. I didn't have Speaker Moyle openly admitting his 2020 election denial on my bingo card. That's from Rod in Boise. Shame on us. As always, our Republican-led representatives and House Speaker are trying to put doubt on Prop 1. Bringing up Dominion will only cast doubt with those who believe they did something wrong. As with everything tied to a, quote, rigged election from 2020, it's just a lot of garbage, says Marcia and Starr. Well, Dominion wasn't the only dog whistle used by Speaker Moyle. He went on about mistrusting the results by pointing to 2 states who currently use ranked choice voting, and they used it in 2022.
I'll use the last example, right? They now have a Democrat congressman. They've never had one. And they're all going, hey, how did this happen? I didn't vote for the Democrat. It happened because they kept counting until they got to the end and got the Democrat to win. Maine's the same way. The Republican wins election night, the Democrat wins the next day. People are going to be mad when they figure out that they're being duped by this down ballot crap that they're not going to understand. It's confusing.
Well, that brought on Mr. Moyle seems to think the voting public isn't bright enough to vote, and he believes that arrogantly, she might add, said Nora. So about those claims that the favorite didn't end up winning in Alaska and Maine. As we pointed out yesterday, that's not how it happened. In the race for a congressional seat in Maine, the Democratic candidate was leading after the first round, 48% to 44% over the Republican candidate. Jared Golden ended up with the 53% of the win, or 53% of the vote, and won in the second round. So that didn't exactly work out that way. Meanwhile, in Alaska, same situation. The Democratic candidate led after the first round, with the Republican vote split between 2 candidates. And by the third round, Mary Peltola was across that majority threshold, making her the first Democratic representative in Congress from Alaska since 1973, but just not the first ever. So both sides show that their leader, well, actually won in the end. Great one-on-one interview with Representative Mike Moyle. It's good to see our leaders' thought processing in action. Wow, said Mike. Speaker Moyle using untruths to get attention. Isn't that the same tactic as saying cats and dogs being stolen for dinner? It's a bad Republican tactic, says Terry. So by the end of our interview that we did with Speaker Moyle on Wednesday, or this week, he referred back to our election demonstration as an example of, well, it's just too many choices and too much to handle.
Your dinner analogy is a good one. Mom decided in my house what we were having. We didn't get to go in there and say, hey, Mom, I want this, this, and this. And we didn't sit around the table and have a conference and everybody cast their votes and then pick 1, 2, 3. We had, hey, this is what's for dinner and you're going to eat it.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Every time?
If I didn't, I sure as heck didn't complain.
Oh, that one prompted a few messages like this one. That analogy used by Speaker Moyle prompted Shirley to write in, so I guess Mom is the Republican Party in this situation, and we all have to just eat what they serve. In reference to Speaker's comment about his mother making dinner, wouldn't that be a dictatorship? That one's from Brian in Boise. You can see both the stories we did on ranked choice voting at ktvb.com or our YouTube channel, where you can find the whole show that we did yesterday or any 208 episodes you may have missed.